Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our weekly AMA. Not necessarily the weekend AMA, the weekly AMA, because I've been doing them earlier and earlier as of late. And you got to do it when you got time. Today is the day that I have the time to do it. So, couple cool things going on in my life. Cheers. So, oh, that one's not very good. Someone said orange shock top. I'm not about it. I grabbed it to try it, but yeah. Couple cool things in YouTube that's going to change a little bit for the channel is YouTube recently made premieres available, and I did it for this very first video where, if you're not familiar with YouTube premieres, what that gives us the ability to do as content creators is actually alert you when a video is going to go out and then set up a premiere so you can notify yourself like, oh, I'm going to catch it Monday at 6 a.m. Usually it's going to be 6:30 for me. And not only that, but there's a chat up. And so you can be there, ask me questions on chat, and I'll be there. So that's going to be something new that I'll start doing for the videos, which is kind of cool. It also, just from a finance aspect, it's kind of cool because you can also, you can, during the premieres, do some fan funding. So if you want to hook your boy up with a few bucks, that's always appreciated. I didn't really have a question to start off the channel, so I just put no college degree required for this channel because I got a call from a recruiter the other day, and I thought it was funny because he basically disqualified me from the role because I didn't have a college degree, which hasn't happened in like forever. Honestly, since before I really had a job in software engineering. But I thought it was just funny because it's like, I'm not looking to jump ship, but it was just an interesting thing because, like, look, I'm good enough for Google. I'm good enough for Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook. Oh, not good enough for your company? I don't know, man. I'm sorry that you're not going to consider me, but that's all right. Not everyone can consider, some people are going to stick to that. Most of the time it's all fluff. But I thought it was kind of funny. It is what it is. I also got a little whiteboard, which is kind of nice. You'll see an upcoming video, sponsored video, which is cool. So how are you guys doing, man? It is Thursday. We've made it through another week. Tomorrow is payday for me. We made it. I also made my very first house payment, which is nice, and I'm super excited about that. Chase was nice enough that if I set up auto payments, it give me $500. I appreciate that. That's 1/500th of what my house has cost, what the loan of my house cost. So thank you, Chase, very much for that. I also am paying off more than double of. So for those of you who don't know, I'm very anti-debt. So I went from zero debt to $252,000 of debt. And how I plan to go back to zero is that I am paying quite a bit more. So I'm paying about $2,500 over my mortgage, which is about $1,850 on top. So to help pay it off sooner, quite a bit. So, and we may ramp it up from there. So life's good. Jesse is a former coworker of mine. How was your new first day at? How was your first week at work, Jesse? What are you studying in your free time? Right now, I'm reading 2 books. I'm reading. Or I actually just finished one book. I just finished Clean Architecture, and I'm currently reading Code Complete on my free time. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to up that level, and I am also going to be studying data structures and algorithms and the solid principles quite a bit. So that's what I'll be doing in the free time. So you'll be looking forward to a solid principles series that I'll be releasing shortly. And that's going to be what I work on this weekend. And then also I build courses. I have a couple ideas for courses. So What do I think about learning algorithms and data structures? I think first you have to learn how to think like a developer before you can start breaking down algorithms and data structures. So I'm kind of at a spot right now where I want to get better with these things. So do I know Java and C Sharp? I mean, I've coded in Java and a little bit of C Sharp. My college coursework when I was in school was in Java, but I wouldn't say I know it. The only thing I would say I know, and I use that in quotes, is probably JavaScript and TypeScript. Everyone's so remote. Yeah, that's a large portion of their company. Thanks again, Jesse, for stopping by and the tequila, which I haven't drank yet, but I appreciate it, Jesse. But yeah, so I'm probably going to be doing a data structures and algorithms course as well, eventually. But I gotta put the nail in the coffin for me so I can surpass my skill set. The thing is you have to understand what it is you're trying to learn and why. So like for me, I plan on going full stack from front end, and I sometimes with backend logic, you're manipulating large amounts of data, and that's where you really need those key data structures and algorithms. I don't think like taking a problem you'll think of trees or graphs or even data structures. I disagree. I think when you sit down and you start breaking out the problems, you might. I mean, that's part of your job is to think about what is the most efficient way to handle this. Saying you learn React, good luck. Is it mandatory to learn ES6 even though you just learned JavaScript? ES6 came out in 2015. 2015, when ES6 was released. If you can't just pick up 20 new syntax changes in JavaScript that happened 3 years ago, I'm worried about you. Also, it'll make your life easier, man. That's the thing. It's going to make your life easier. Yes, get comfortable with it. Hey, dude, I want to thank you for helping me first software dev job this month. Good for you. I don't know GraphQL. What's your goal? YouTube more famous, or build something for yourself, or freelance, or all the above? I have no real interest with becoming YouTube famous or anything like that. I don't really take my channel all that seriously. It is a major part of how I learn, and it makes me some money, and so I appreciate it. And it's been we've been doing YouTube like 3.5 years, man. It ain't no joke. So it's been a great asset to me in my career. But my immediate goal is to pay off my house in 3.5 years. That means I have to get a little bit more money, and I have some ideas of how I'm going to do that. But 3.5 years is where do I get 3.5 years? If I pay $5,000 more to pay off the house and then just rent it out, I can get there in about 3 to 3.5 years. So, but that's my immediate goal. In terms of like what my life goals is right now, my life goal is to build a couple side projects. So I've recently reached out to a couple of my coworkers about brainstorming, theory crafting, coming up with some cool side projects. So far, no one has really taken a bite. And I think what will happen is I'll probably just have to go solo, man. That's the truth of the matter. I want to build something nice. I want to build something that what's the project you're talking about? It's a secret, bro. Really, I have a couple ideas, but I have to theory craft them out a little bit more. I want to hire a designer too, UI UX guy, because that's so important about what you're trying to accomplish. But YouTube will always sort of, for me, be a hobby. It will also be a income generator. I consider it somewhat of a part-time job, and really my goal is to retire by 40. What I mean by retire by 40 is not that I don't want to be working. And by the way, I'm 31, so that gives me 9 years. Is I want to have enough passive income streams that I don't need to work. It's like I have a couple houses that are making me money. You know what I'm saying? Like I have passive income streams coming in. And that's it. What do you mean by side project? Build a project that generates revenue. Exactly. So that could be a affiliate link project. That could be a AdSense project. Maybe I build a platform, do something. I have a couple ideas that I'd like to get started and implement, but that's the idea, right? So like, just like anything else, man, it's a goal. Yeah, so I have a couple ideas. I might take about 10 grand and start a project I've talked about before on the channel, which essentially would be like if you're familiar with Loot Crate, imagine Loot Crate, but it's going to be a coder crate sort of thing. That's the idea. That's something that I'm interested in getting started with and putting the time, effort, and energy into, and seeing what we can do with that. So I have a couple ideas. That's a much more higher project. The first project is going to be a much less of a capital investment. If I was pocketing 100K a year off passive income, would you quit your day job? Probably not. I would probably be working for a while. So like, here's the thing. It's like 100K a year off passive income is less than I make right now, combined with my passive income. A fair portion less than what I make right now. So like if I was making 100K on top of that, what I'd probably do is save, invest, work for a couple of years, and go from there. That'd probably be the idea. Because I mean, but yeah, I want to build a couple like little mini sites that generate a couple $100 a piece a month and see what happens. So I have a couple ideas. So, but yeah, here's the thing. Everything I try and do generates income. Like, not because I necessarily, that's all I think about. I'm all money, money, money. Oh, bitch. No. It is, it's one of those items where I know what good finances can get us in a couple of years. So I'm willing to make the sacrifices now for the payoff later, right? So I'm very money oriented right now, but money's not everything, but it's something. And you know, that's where my mind is at right now. Am I drinking alcohol? Yeah, I'm just having a beer. Nothing crazy. I'm 31. I'll have a beer on my YouTube channel. It's 2018. All right. But no, so no, I'm not gonna set up the green screen behind me. I might when I film some courses again. Do I have any kids? No. I'm the only web developer at work. Should I put the work I do for them on my portfolio? Absolutely. Yes. And here's the thing. It's like I say this to April all the time. Like, no one ever believes that you're going to do it, right? I'd be here right now, tell you that I'm going to pay off my house in 3.5 to 7 years, closer to 5. No one's going to believe you. That's okay. I don't need people to believe me. So like, and that's one of the things you have to understand is like, don't look for external validation. Just understand like your results showcase it. Like your actions showcase it, and I don't need anyone to believe me about anything, right? Um, except my baby. All right. But you know that except you, baby. Have I started my workout routine? Yeah, man. I let me see if I can show you a picture of it. I got a full body gym going on. We got a sick deal for like $240 on Let Go. Someone had bought a full setup, and might be a little hard to see here. But they bought a full setup, and you guys can kind of see it. It's got a leg, it's got a bench press, it's got a little ab curl, a bicep curl. It's got a back part. So I've been hitting that about every other day. How often do you use child nodes target elements versus get element by ID? Targeting nodes is so confusing. So you don't, with frameworks and stuff like that, you don't really have to worry about that too much. You usually more or less are handling most of that via the framework. So like in React, you're going to be passing props to control data. In Angular, same thing. You're going to be using ng model and things like that. Have I ever thought about starting my own startup? There's one or two. The project I suggested about starting like a coder crate is something that I'd be interested in. Where can you practice more HTML algorithms? You can't really do algorithms in HTML. I think you mean like building out pages and stuff like that. What I would suggest to you is getting comfortable with semantic HTML. So Google that and get comfortable with that if that's what you mean. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure. The HTML algorithms. Not yet, man. Maybe in 2022. Code signal for algorithms. I've done quite a bit on there. I enjoy it. I am still in Florida, yes. I'll probably be in Florida until I pay off the house. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Eric, I appreciate the $2, sir. That's $2. So those of you don't know, man, that's $2 towards $1,000. I look healthier. Yeah, man. I'm stopped and I'm not stressing as much about the move, right? So like, it's stressful moving, man. I bought my first house. I'm getting situated. It's also a busy time of the year at work right now, but I've cut back on the caffeine some. I've started exercising a little bit. Gun show. No. I'm getting a little bit into C#, not too much though. Life is good, yeah, man. Living life is very good. Yeah. DC or Lewis? You got to go with DC, man. I just think DC is just gonna lay on him and just sort of grind him out. Do I have a yard? Yeah, I have a decent size yard. Yeah, this side project that I'm working on, I wonder if you'll be interested. I'm looking to start something fresh, more or less. Is this my second job? I'm on my second job. So just to span the whole frame of my work history is I had an internship at a web design shop that did like WordPress and things like that. I then worked freelance for them for a little bit, as well as freelance on the side. And after that, I went to a what do you call that company? A student like information company like Moodle or Blackboard. And and I worked there for about 9 months as sort of a BA and technical writer. Got my first dev job at a government contracting company, and I worked there for about a year, and now for last year and 2 months or so, this is the longest I've been at a dev-related job. I've been at my current company. Should I learn WordPress? No. Do I know anything about blockchain? I don't know too much. I know that there's a lot of jobs in it and that it pays better than the average developer job, so I'd look into it. That's about all I can say. I don't think it's a scam. I think it's legit, but I think just a little bit of research you could go into and figure it out. Yep. But yeah, that's the I do consider YouTube my second job, part-time. I've kind of cut back the time I put into it because I've been getting situated in the house and moving for the last month and a half, 2 months. But we've been in here about a month. Life is good. And I don't know anything about networking. Do I have a standing desk at work? Yes, I do. So it's a good course about algorithms. I've been thinking about doing CS50. How much vanilla JS do you know before you got your first job? Vanilla JS, in terms of the language itself, I knew quite a bit. In terms of manipulating the DOM, not too much, in all honesty. I have an opportunity to work on a blockchain app, but I would have to learn Kotlin. I mean, I don't know too much about it. All I would say is if it's your first job, just take it. Currently, I'm working at help desk job for 6 months. Do you think that job is enough resume experience to start applying dev jobs? I mean, it's all going to be about your ability, really, and your projects and how well, you can code. That help desk job is probably going to do little to nothing for you. The only way it can help you is if you're able to transition from like a help desk role to like maybe a quality assurance role at your work. That would be one way that it could help you. Most employers will provide you with your equipment. Will I ever get a dog? Yes. We are going to get a Rottweiler puppy around Christmas time. So we're going to get a dog. All right, that's right. Our last pet. I don't know how much Dan Abrov makes. But yeah, do you like Linux? I know nothing about Linux. I'm one of those guys, man. Yeah. I do code reviews daily. Usually code reviews are done by yourself. I don't do it with any other developers. And in terms of time set aside for you to learn code related to the future course of the company or whatever, is oftentimes that's on you. You got to put it in. You got to find time in your day job to go with it, and you got to find time outside of work to learn and get better, right? So that's up to you. And the real benefit to that is you get to take the initiative, right? So I don't know why she's getting so hyped over there. It's dropping F-bombs over there. It's like, tell them suck your dick. No, but no, oftentimes, I don't know if you guys can hear her, but she's getting hyped. At the end of the day, as a professional, your work cares about you getting the job done. And as a professional, you have to, if you want to become a better developer, that's up to you. Say you're making 60K, 50K, and you want to get to 80 or 90K, that's up to you. They're not going to necessarily put time aside for you to get better. A good workplace will, but remember, 70% of people hate their jobs, which probably means most places aren't a good workplace. So shouldn't a company allow you to take time and learn new things on company time? Of course they should. But shouldn't your significant others not cheat on you also? And yet that shit happens all the time. You know what I mean? Like that's the point I'm trying to make is we are never going to work in the perfect environment. We're never going to work in the perfect company. A lot of companies have IT departments because they have to have them. And they're not software companies necessarily. And it's new to them. Do you get what I'm saying? You need not to have your work make you a better developer. You become a better developer on your own and you get rewarded for it at your work or the next place they'll pay you 20, 30 grand more. I don't know. I've never had this issue because I love it, man. I enjoy it. Especially YouTube's giving me a unique way to get better and grind. Like a perfect example is I did my book review, right? I did the clean architecture. That's something I just enjoyed doing for the last 2 months or so, just like casually reading so I could do a video about it so that I could share it and I get a little bit of affiliate money in the process. So, you know, you can find that time. I recently started reading Code Complete at my work for about 20, 30 minutes a day. That's it. Nothing crazy. I've finished my my ticket. I submit it. I look to see if there's any PRs. I do them. And then I take about 20, 30 minutes to study, to get better. Every day I go in at work, I throw on a one of the best YouTube channels in the game for software, coding tech, and I watch a talk on there almost every day. So it's one of those items where you getting better is about you, and you finding the time is about you. And, you know, for your coworkers, for your bosses, whatever it is, you have to understand that if you want to get to the next level, you have to put the effort in, and that doesn't mean anyone around you is going to make your life easy to get there. You getting better is good for the company. Here is the win-win. Here's the thing. Most developers leave a job in a year and a half, so not really, right? You know, if the average developer leaves the company in a year and a half, they don't really have any incentive to boost you up. Not only that, to keep you, they have to give you, especially if you started low at a 60, 70K range, they have to give you another 40%, 40% raise. What channel did I watch? Coding Tech. Coding Tech. I highly recommend it. I recommend it to all of you to immediately go and subscribe. Yeah. I highly disrecommend the Sunset Orange Shock Top. It's not very good. Yo, Jose Gonzalez, we got some. Any other good YouTube channels? There's a bunch, man. I have 2 videos on the channel called Top 5 Coding Channels I Recommend, Part 1, Part 2. I I would definitely recommend checking those out. Maybe I'll do a third one. Maybe that's what I'll do this weekend. Top 5, number 3. Trace for my boy Jesse in the chat. Yeah. Coding Tech's great. They mainly post anywhere from 10-minute to an hour plus videos that that go and are like talks at conventions and conferences and things like that. So they do like a video or two a day. Play the new Red Dead Redemption now. Right now, I'm slowly playing around with Valkyria Chronicles. Will you write a print book? I've actually started working on one, and that stopped because I moved. But that's going to be something that I'm hoping to finish by the end of 2019. So if I could do a collab video with another channel, which one would you do it with? Probably Traversy Media, man. Traversy Media is one of those guys that I think has a good heart, and he's just done so much. Like, he's filling the void left over by the new Boston. That's sort of my stance on Traversy Media and Brad, and I think he's doing an excellent job. And he is putting in the work, and he has hopefully reaped the benefits. I think he's doing very, very well for himself. And I think he's going to surpass the new Boston eventually in terms of subscribers. You know, it's he would definitely be the one. And I've probably watched his tutorials on things quite a bit. So I'm a big fan of Brad's, and we shoot an email here or there. You know, he's a good guy, man. I got nothing but love for Brad, and I'm happy for his success because he's earned it. And you know, that would definitely be the GOAT. Is that just what we say all the time for things? He's the greatest of all time. He's the greatest of all time. Software tutorial guy on YouTube. That's such a strange GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, do you think it's good necessary for a front-end developer to be good at UI, UX? I think it's okay to know as a front-end developer what a bad design is versus what a good design is. So I think that, to answer your question, that's a good thing to know. But I don't necessarily think that you have to be good at UI, UX, and design. If you are, I think you are a rarity, and it definitely ups your value, right? And so I think that's an excellent thing to know. It's something I plan on getting my feet a little wet. Do I need to include a database to include authentication in my site apps to impress recruiters? No. I mean, it helps if you're trying to do a full stack application. Yeah, for a front end, probably not valid. It doesn't matter. I mean, it all helps. What do you think about Red Hat being bought by IBM? I haven't really been following it, but good for them, man. Can you make a video about DOM manipulation and Junior should know? Maybe I'll make a DOM manipulation when I do my front end, like front to back sort of thing. Maybe I'll make some stuff then. Are junk artifacts still an issue in browsers? I don't know what that is. How is it possible not to know Linux? Well, I use Mac. Or excuse me, I use Windows. I don't even know Mac. What are the 3 most important tips for aspiring front-end developers? Really learn JavaScript. Learn what it means to think like a programmer in that sense, and learn the language. Build something all the time, be building stuff, and code every day. That's really it, man. I see more jobs on web. I can't stop the feeling I'm making a mistake pursuing mobile instead, which I like more. Just build apps. Build apps, make a little bit of side money. There's jobs in mobile. Do you agree that front end is harder than back end nowadays? I tend to agree. My thought process for it is that JavaScript's a little bit of the Wild West, and although you have to connect, make sure that you're connecting to the proper databases and your tables are structured right in the back end. I think manipulating the UI has and is such a pain in the ass that it's much harder than back end. But I'm also somewhat biased as a front end engineer, right? If you wanted, could you have bought a $500,000 Lamborghini if you were single and rented a 1-bed, 1-bath? I mean, I suppose I could. I would never want to. I could get approved for a $500,000 house loan. I don't know if that means I could get approved for a $500,000 car loan. It would be very out of character. You know, I want to get though. What do you call that thing? This is the thing that I'll get. I'll get when I pay off the house. I'll get one of these things, man. I'm gonna bring it up real quick.
Are you trying out the slingshot?
Yeah. Share my screen. This is what I would get. This is like what I would get for my fun car. It's like 20 grand. It's nothing. It's not gonna break the bank, but I like this thing. I like this little 3-wheeler, man. Not that one. This one. I know. That would probably be as hard as I would ball out. Yeah. I don't care what car I have. For those of you guys who don't know, I have a 2015 Mitsubishi Mirage. I bought it for $13,100, brand new. It was I basically paid for it all cash. Put 10 grand down. I paid it off about a year later, or 2 years later, and it gets 44 on the highway. Came with 100,000-mile warranty. Love that car to death. Only got 70,000 miles on it. It's still the car I have today. I bought it brand new in 2015. The last brand new car I'll probably be buying. Plus, this is my essential oil diffuser. Likely successful career change to become a developer at 37. Is it feasible? Absolutely. You just have to be good. That's it. You just have to be good. How much do you make per month solely from YouTube? So from YouTube ad revenue, it varies, but it's usually somewhere around $1,200 to $1,400 right now. And then there is affiliate links, which is like the Amazon affiliate links, and like the Humble Bundle affiliate links. That's like $100, maybe $150 a month. And then there's Udemy courses, which is around $1,000 a month. And then there is sponsored videos, which come and go, and shout outs and things like that, which I'd say on an average month is anywhere from $500 to $1,500, depends. So that's sort of my breakdown from YouTube. I probably make, I don't know, 35,000 a year from YouTube, something like that. Maybe 30 to 40. That's fairly recent. That's probably in the last year or so that I started making those gains. Do junior dev job interviews have whiteboard problems? Yeah, most do. It depends how bad they're going to be, right? So like let's take out this whiteboard for a second. So like, how many of you could actually solve FizzBuzz right now? Yeah. So like for those of you who don't know, like the classic FizzBuzz problem, right? It's I need you to print out fizz if it's divisible by write a function that takes in a number that's evenly divisible. Write a function that takes in a number if it's evenly divisible by fizz, or by 3, write fizz. If it's evenly divisible by 5, write buzz. If it's divisible by both, write FizzBuzz. It's a standard. It's like so you probably won't get asked this question, but this is about the easiest question. This is sort of the baseline questions you'll get asked for junior level interviews. I would say it all varies though. So like if you can't write this in the board in about 2-3 minutes, you might have some trouble, right? So all right, so FizzBuzz. We're gonna write a function. I'll do this in JavaScript, right? As if we're doing it. So we have FizzBuzz. We're gonna take in some number, and we'll treat it as if it's TypeScript. So we'll have. And granted, you'll probably write pseudocode to interview, whatever. So we'll have a number, and we'll call this. We'll just call this value, actually. And so you then would say, what would I do here? So let's go ahead and create a, we'll just call this word, and we'll initialize this to an empty string. And then we'll say if num divisible by 3 equals 0, word plus equals fizz. If num is divisible by 5, evenly divisible, go ahead and say word plus equals, can you see that? All right. Word plus equals buzz, return word. This may surprise you. This may surprise you, but that problem right there would stump about 9 out of 10 people I interview. So that's a very, 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 very simple problem. And that's the sort of problem I would give to people we interview, and most people can't do it. So I know it's scary, and it's also somewhat upsetting at the end of the day. And you're saying, Dylan, why would you give such a basic problem? Is FizzBuzz something I teach my algorithm course? Yeah, I have 100 algorithms. Those are sort of the bottom tier ones. Do you get automatically rejected if you can't solve FizzBuzz? Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the thing: is like if you can't solve a basic problem, to me, when I say solve that problem that I just gave you right there, it's like, hey, what's 2 plus 2? And you respond back, apples. We're done. Like, it doesn't matter what else you have to say at this point, right? You don't understand the fundamentals of programming. You don't understand how to break a simple problem down. You don't understand the modulo operator. You don't understand if statements. You don't understand how to return. You don't understand anything. Like, this is just an example, but I'm trying to give you a baseline understanding of where some of these expectations are. So, and here's the thing, it's not people, a lot of you are thinking, oh man, these are just junior devs who are just getting going, right? No, absolutely not. I've had people with 20 years experience who can't do that. So you're saying that's the type of a whiteboard problem I can expect from a junior job interview? If you really want to prepare, that's the low end. There's a lot of places that will give you much harder. So if you want to prepare, I truly do recommend my 100 algorithm challenge, where I go through 100 different problems, and it will help you get prepared. There's a link in the description. You get it for $10. All right. But yeah, but if you can't solve the basic whiteboard problem, maybe it's the on-the-spot situation, then you need to practice, man. Look, I don't like it any more than you do. I used to throw up before interviews. When I interviewed with Microsoft, I did 20 plus algorithms that were much harder than that. You have about 20 minutes apiece. And you meet for an hour with the dev, they give you about 3 at a time. What do you mean, did I ever do anything with the interview questions you're coming up with? Simon, you're taking the problem too literally. If I asked you, hey, I want you to reverse a string. I want you to reverse a string, or excuse me. I want you to tell me if a string is a palindrome. I want you to tell me if a string is a palindrome. Most people, and you say, don't use any built-in array methods, couldn't write that on the whiteboard for you. Yeah. Flowers to Kitty. Flowers to Kitty, I would have hired him. He did. He came on the, I'm sorry, man. I'm forgetting your name. I know it starts with an N and it's Epic. That's what I remember. But he came on 2 minutes notice, knocked out great. He did great. I would have hired him in an instant as a junior to get him going, man. He would have been fantastic. He did better than 9 out of 10 people I interview with. Nazareth. Thank you, man. I apologize. Keep forgetting your name, but that's. And these are easy, man. This isn't anything hard. I'll give you. Let's see. What would be a medium-sized problem that you could get real quick off the top of my head? For the palindrome one, you just reverse the string and compare it to the original, yes. And then you'd be followed up with a question like, okay, well, what are some use cases, some edge cases you might want to consider? And so, like, for that one, when I ask that question, right, I'll be like, what are some edge cases? And I can't think of anything. That speaks loudly too, because like the first thing that should come to mind is, oh, well, what about comparing the case of it, right? You want to compare the case of it. All right, excellent. Compare the case of it. Great. You thought of that? Okay, cool. How can we actually make your algorithm to reverse the string shorter? Well, what we could do is we could write a for loop and have an I and a j, and then I goes plus plus, J goes minus minus, and then we compare until we're down in the middle. And if they're ever not equal to each other, we return false. If they're and at the end, we just return true. And we could do something like that. But so on these questions, the idea really, right, is always about having follow-up questions as well as basic logic, right? Because you're not necessarily comparing how well someone does. You're comparing how well someone does compared to most other people. Most common letter in a string is something that would be lower medium. If that. So every workplace is going to ask different things, but the reason you ask questions like this is to find out who's bullshitting, to find out who actually knows how to think like a developer, problem solve. Do you really think we're ever going to work with palindromes? I work on an e-commerce platform. You know how often I've dealt with palindromes? Never. I have no use case for palindromes. But what I do have a use case for is basic programming principles. That's what I have a use case for. I gotta get some cleaner for this. Oops. Yeah. I think I might be done. How's the nightlife in your town? I don't know, man. We don't really go out too much. We go to dinner and movies and things like that. These questions scare me. These are the things that you need to be focused on. You need to get comfortable with it, right? And I'm not even saying I'm the best at doing these things, but I've put time to get better. Go old school, use chalk. Yeah. So, want to see something cool? Oh, shit. I gotta loosen this up real quick. I just put this together like 2 days ago. My apologies. Wait, doesn't this? I'm trying to flip this. I thought this flipped.
It does flip.
Oh, there we go. Bam, son. For those of you who don't know, man, the brain food. So the thing that helps me not like get caffeine in the morning is we juice. This is our juicing mix for the morning, man. Do interviewers give like partial credit marks for partially correct? Yeah, but like, so look at the FizzBuzz problem, right? How can I give you partial credit for that? So on complicated ones, you'll get partial credit because we're comparing you against other people. On shit like that, you just fail. That's it, man. So use code fights in your course to practice algorithms. Yes, you can use free code camp. Free code camp has a set of easy ones as well. These guns are a dead giveaway. Yeah. Why is it called FizzBuzz? If you Google the history of FizzBuzz, I want to say it was like Steve Jobs or someone of note in the software field said that 9 out of 10 software developers can't solve that problem. He's right. Have a good one, Nazareth. Python or JavaScript going in 2019? Depends what you want to do. You want to do front end? You want to do... what company gave you the hardest technical interview? Oh, Microsoft, by far. No, I'm not planning on learning deep computer science architecture. I'll go full stack. That's about it. For now, anyhow. If I was starting today, what would you learn in what order? Probably same thing I did. Front end and then go from there. Front end, get a job, and figure out what I need to do next. Do you smack applicants when you get when they get these algorithms wrong? No, I get depressed. It is one of those things where I can only do so many interviews in a week because 99 out of 100 people fail, and it's rough, man. Because I've clawed my way up to the top. And James Bigwood asked, "How'd you get an interview at Microsoft without a degree?" Because I can do FizzBuzz. Like that's why. The majority of people cannot. I can, and I've put in a lot of hard work so I can do these sorts of things. And I've become an interesting candidate. You can see my passion on YouTube, building courses, guesting on podcasts, whatever it may be. But time and time again, it is it's because I got good. I get good. Would your company let you live in their parking lot in an RV? They might. We have a dirt lot we can park in. When you say people can't do FizzBuzz, do you mean under pressure at all? Both. But it doesn't really matter if you can do it at home. Can you do it? Can you do it on the whiteboard in front of me or in your text editor? It's two different things. From starting as junior, how long would you say it takes to get senior level? It depends on how good you are, how much time you put in, right? Did I learn FizzBuzz through free code? It's stop looking at the actual individual algorithm. It's just one example, guys. It's just one example. And the point I want you to remember is not to memorize FizzBuzz. I want you to instead go ahead and think like, hey, I need to get comfortable enough to be able to figure out solutions. Do I still make dumb mistakes in HTML and CSS? Sometimes, yeah. It happens, man, but that's why you're developing. That's why we have code reviews. That's why it takes time. Who was your mentor while learning code? I didn't really have one, to be honest. I just grinded to the best of my ability. Yeah. Are free code camp certs worth putting on your resume? I think they're worth a conversation starter, but it all comes down to your skills. It all comes down to how you market yourself and that. How many bad developers are out there? 9 out of 10. I didn't believe it. I believe it now. 9 out of 10 are awful. Yeah, that's the thing. You're asking, hey, man, how you do so well for yourself? What did I do to get good at algorithms? I did them every day for a very long time. And I'm not even that good at them. Define awful, please. They can't do FizzBuzz. If you can't do FizzBuzz on a whiteboard, awful. Define a good developer. Someone who understands the basic programming principles, such as control flow, data types, math operators, and is struggling to get better. Struggling to get better. People who are looking into how to write clean code, how to what the solid principles are. People who take time to mentor others, I think is really important. Have good communication skills. It's just one of those things. Do you get computer science grads who can't solve FizzBuzz? Yes. Yes. I know it's hard to believe. I didn't believe it. I called my tech lead a liar. John Sullivan says in his book he doesn't like JavaScript because it was made in 10 days. Do you agree? agree it was made in 10 days? It was. Why do you think 9 out of 10 suck? Because most people can scrape by. That's why there's so many. Why do you think there's so many contract to hire jobs? Think about that. I don't know if you guys know this. Maybe you're not at the point in time where you get people to offer you roles and jobs. I get a recruiter every day, send me email, LinkedIn message, phone call, whatever it is, almost every day. And most of them are looking for contract to hire roles instead of direct hires. You know why? Because they need to make sure that you're not bad. That's the truth of the matter. They need to make sure that you're not bad because so many people are. So feel good that you've worked hard. Do you think the bar will be lowered bad dev applicants? Absolutely. That's why we have contract to hire roles. So I don't even consider contract to hire or contract roles. And the roles I have interviewed with that have been contract to hire have offered me direct hire roles because that's usually what will happen when they like you. Or they will offer you a ridiculous salary. Anyhow, guys, my point is practice your algorithms. Practice your algorithms. Practice thinking and understanding how to write code, how to solve problems. That's really what we care about, right? I think people are just bad at problem solving. That's why they're there. Our whole job is to solve problems. Is to break down projects. Even in the front end, you have a page, right? You have your header. You have to build the navigation. How do I build the navigation, right? You're like, okay, I want a carousel, a custom carousel. I need to make sure I can have logic that slides it in and out because I'm not going to take a third-party library. Okay, cool. I have media articles. All right. How do I have these go? Oh, I need to connect them to some sort of CMS that translates the language. You get what I'm saying? Oh, form input. I need to have input validation under this unique circumstances. Your whole job is to take this problem, which is a web page, and break it down. So if you can't break down 3 divided by some number is equal to 0 to say fizz, you're never breaking that down. No, I'm upset at the state of our industry, baby. What is the most I've been offered? I got offered 140, 7? What was it? I think it was either 140 or 147. I don't remember what it was. To go work in what's that awful city that James is from? Baby, what's that awful city that I didn't want to go work in? Jacksonville. Yeah. Oh, I don't drink coffee. Yeah, I turned that shit down. Am I drunk? No. Just passionate, man. I don't get any headaches, no. Although I think my eyes are just trained. Like they've been hitting weights for quite some time. I am in Florida, yes. Why'd they offer me so much? Well, they gave me, the algorithm they gave me, I solved in 3 or 4 minutes.
And they gave you 2 days.
Yeah. And not only that, they called me back an hour later. They called me back like an hour later and offered it to me. They offered me the job an hour later. At some bank, they asked me to solve, the algorithm they wanted me to solve was, I give you 2 strings. I want you to find out the letter that they have most in common. That was it. Did I solve it quick because I've seen it before? I had seen it before, but I solved it quick because I was prepared. I solved it quick because if you do the 100 most common algorithms, you're bound to hit them most of the time. Show it on the whiteboard? Okay. You know, I'm not your trained monkey. I'm not going to do it. All you have to do, how I solved it was pretty simple, is I iterated through both these strings. I then created an object. No. I solved it in 2 minutes. Less than 2 hours, they called and offered me the job. The side projects are to get your foot in the door, guys. That's the thing. The side projects are to get your foot into the door, to get them interested in you. I'll show you. You guys want to see real quick? It ain't that bad. I'll do it real quick. So I'm just going to write pseudocode though. So we have a function. It takes in, I'll move this up a little bit. We're going to do W1 and W2. So you take W1 in, W2, and this is what we give it a name like we give it a name like most in common character, whatever it is. So the way that I solve this is just one of many ways. Is I take W1, I'm gonna split it on each character. Take W2, I'm going to split it on each character, right? The idea here, and by the way, when you're solving these things, visualize what the objective is and go from there and understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. What I'm trying to accomplish is I'm going to build 2 objects. So I'm going to have obj1, and that's going to be an empty object, and I'm going to have obj2, and that's going to be an empty object. What I'm going to do is I'm going to iterate through W1. So let's just break this off. Part 1, I arranged my data that I need. I have my 2 character arrays and my 2 objects. I'm going to iterate through each W1. I'm going to then check. I'm going to say if obj1 dot has own property. And what are we checking? And mind you, we're checking a character from each one of these, right? For each. So we're iterating through each character. So if it has this char, what we're going to do is we're going to say obj1 on that character using bracket notation plus plus. Why? Because if it doesn't, in our else, we're going to say obj1 char is equal to 1. I would put this into a private function that I could run twice because we're doing twice the logic. So what we're going to have at this point now is going to be something like this. obj1 is equal to an object, and it's going to have A2, B1, C3. Something like that. That's going to be our object. I'm going to do the same thing for obj2. Next, all I'm going to do is say, now that I have obj1, obj2 with their characters as keys and the values of how many are in each string, I'm just going to make a comparison. I'm going to iterate through obj1 one more time. Doesn't matter which one I do. And I'm going to say, or I'm going to create a placeholder. I'll say let count equal 0, and let char or highest char equal an empty string. I'm then just going to check if obj1 or obj2 has the property of the char. If it does, I'm going to check if that value, if that char value of obj2 is greater than count, I'm going to go ahead and set it. Count is now going to be equal to that value, and then the highest char is going to be equal to that. All I do is return highest char. You solve that, you get a $140,000 salary in 2 minutes. There you go. Anyhow. So that's the point I'm trying to make, guys, is don't worry about the actual problem. Worry about how to break down problems. So the reason that you have to create two values is we're trying to find out how many values they have in common. That's why we have to have this. Oh, also, I forgot to make that we return the lesser of the two, right? So the count and the char, we're just returning the lesser of the two. So because if we have A here has 3 and A here has 2, we need to return the highest that they have in common is 2. You know what I'm saying? But you guys get the idea. But if you want to get better at those things, might I recommend the 100 algorithm challenge that you can get for just $9.99 in the description below. That's a real problem that a bank gave me. But anyhow, you guys get the idea. A bank that manages, I want to say, $4 billion when I looked it up. You need free code camp, Code Academy, every other camp to get this stuff. That's what I'm saying, guys. You got to practice this stuff because you're not in your everyday life are you solving these things. You just got to start learning how to break problems down piece by piece by piece. Have I ever been asked about big O notation? Yes. They're usually not very deep questions. Ask you what to explain it. They'll ask you what your solution is. So like that's an O to the end solution. O to the end solution because we don't have any nesting going on there. Something we need to worry about. It's just 4, 4, 4. Take advantage of all of them? Yeah, man. What did the bank want you to do for the job? They wanted me to build their website. They wanted me to rebuild their infrastructure. How long did it take me to know this stuff? I don't know, man. I got much better with it after I devoted 3 months to building the 100 algorithm challenge. Anyhow, guys, I hope you got the point of this. I appreciate you all. If you want to help me out, you can by buying my courses in the description below, as well as the books that I recommend below as well. I get a little bit of affiliate money. Every book on there I've read or I am currently reading. I highly recommend. And if you're ever wondering how you might get better, there's a link for cracking the coding interview, which goes over all the most common technical interview questions down below. I would recommend that you do my course beforehand as a workup if you're actually going to go through that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I gave you 2 of the free ones out of the 100. Check it out. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. It's payday for me. I hope it's payday for you as well as the weekend. because Thursday is the new Friday almost, right? Is that what you kids say? But I'll see you guys next time. Bye.